And I'm telling you now, if you've got hay fever or anything like that, these are great. Hi, I'm Josh O'Connor, and these are my essentials. My campervan, who I call Winnie. She used to be called Winston. I don't have her here, so this is a photograph of her. You can see a little glimpse into the inside. That's a wood-burning stove. That's a fridge to refrigerate things. That's a sink to wash things. You get the gist. And I lived in Winnie for a lot of last year. I was shooting a film called La Chimera in Italy. And Winnie doesn't have a shower, but I was camping out by Lake Bolsena, which is a very beautiful lake in the middle of Italy. And I washed myself in the lake, and the only way to get shopping food was to use a canoe to go into the nearby village. So I was very fit and healthy by the end of it. So my next item is this scrapbook. I've been keeping scrapbooks for films and projects and characters for quite a long time, and this is one of them. This is the first page of my La Chimera scrapbook. La Chimera is about a man called Arthur, an archaeologist, and he's digging for old Etruscan treasures and selling them to museums for lots of money. And it was a kind of pirate trade in the 80s. But really, Arthur is searching for the soul of his lost fiancée who died, but also for something beyond life, something that doesn't exist. But whether it's death or the unseen or something like that. And so a lot of my research was just about our relationship to afterlife or to death. It sounds very miserable, but it wasn't. It was very joyful. And the Etruscans saw life after death as more meaningful than life itself. And I feel like nowadays we have less of a connection to spirituality and that notion. So that was really interesting. There's actually a poem that Alice Rohrwacher, the director, gave to me when we started this film. And then there's all sorts of bits in here, like obviously images, but I also will keep like bits of moss and lichen. There's some of my drawings, like bits of material. There's all sorts of stuff in here, but it's mostly about character stuff and bits of writing that I found and poems and images I like, and that was a flower that I tried to glue in. Anyway, so this is one of my scrapbooks. This one's a very precious one to me because La Chimera was a very precious film to me. Next essential item is this camera. I am by no means a good photographer, so I don't really know too much about it. I'm pretty sure there's all sorts of bits on here that I don't really understand. I will take it around with me when I go in the van sometimes. I really only take it when I go off camping or with mates. The only time I used it professionally, I once took photos of my friend Jessie Buckley using this camera, and that was really good because I was showing off to Jessie, making her think that I was a professional photographer, and I wasn't. They very kindly gave me a photograph assistant, and he just told me how to do everything. So that was good. So my next essential item is copy decks, which is a glue, a strong adhesive for fabrics, crafts, carpets, DIY, solvent-free, acid-free, and easy to use. Didn't know any of those things, but I'll tell you what. I'll just open it up for you. So it's kind of, you can see it's sort of liquidy. Got quite a horrible smell to it actually. But this stuff is amazing. My grandmother used to use this. I remember seeing it in her studio. But it's really good for, if you like scrapbooking, which I do, like this one. It's really good for sticking in photographs or anything really. It just does sort of do everything. One thing I discovered it doesn't do are flowers, like in my La Chimera scrapbook, because it just doesn't seem to work. So good for most things, not good for if you wanted to stick a flower somewhere. And then these scrapbooks are personal scrapbooks and just images and letters that I've sent or received or things that I like over the years. One of the images in this scrapbook is of the artist Yves Klein. Yves Klein was obsessed with the colour blue. The image is him jumping off this high wall trying to capture blue, the blue in the sky. And the idea behind it is that the artist needs to take a leap of faith sometimes in order to capture the idea, the form that they're looking for. When I first moved to London, I was working 3 or 4 jobs. I was trying to audition, trying to make it as an actor. So I quit my jobs. And my mum was very concerned and thought, you're not going to survive very long in London without a job. I got that postcard and I wrote on the back of it and said, sometimes as an artist, we need to take a leap of faith. She still has it on her, on the fireplace at home. The second image, very quickly, is a photograph of Helena Bonham Carter. Helena is a friend and I love her. I wrote to her when I was 14, 15, having read this book, and I sent it to Helena Bonham Carter. There were all these characters and I thought, oh, well, Helena could play that, such and such could play this. And then there's this young lad who's going to play that. And I just left a picture of my face and my very short CV, which was like doing the Wizard of Oz in year 6. That was on the final page. So the idea being that she'd finish the book and she'd go, but this is great, but who's going to play the young lad? Anyway, I don't think she did. I know she didn't because I've since become a friend of hers, but she sent me that note and I've kept it ever since. It says, "Dear Josh, thank you for the book. Good luck, Helena Bonham Carter." It's just quite a nice thing. My next item are these face rolling devices. Petra, who makes me look really nice and normal, hopefully, when I do things like this, used these recently in Cannes, and they were actually lush. They're so nice. And you just pop them on your face and roll them about. And yeah, you put them in the fridge. They're nice and cold. And I'm telling you now, if you've got hay fever or anything like that, these are great. Some of my ceramics, they're essential because I really like them. This is a ceramic by my grandmother. I love it very much. And my grandmother passed away a couple of years ago and she was an incredible woman. And I was left this and it's very beautiful and I've got to figure out how to hang it. But at the moment it's sort of rested at home, but I really love it. And I actually love the wood that it's attached to. I think it's a very handsome thing. So then the next one, this is a very brilliant British ceramicist called Ian Godfrey, and this is one of his cityscapes. It's actually a lidded vessel, so you can see it's sort of like cityscapes and you've got these animals, but if you open it up, you get a little treat with these birds that sit inside. I love it very much. And now this is very important because it was given to me by my friend Jonathan. It's by an artist called Lucy Ree, who's perhaps one of the most celebrated ceramicists. I'm not a big collector of things, so I'm in no way looking to collect a load of stuff. I just like the idea of looking after these precious objects, and they're just nice to look at, aren't they? My next item is Matcha Leaf, a tree memory game. Very simple concept. You get a load of trees, like here we have beech tree here. Then you have the leaf thereof of the beech tree. So you put them all the cards over like this and scatter them around. There's loads of them. So you go beech tree, and then you've got this memory game, so you've got to remember where the leaf of the beech tree is. There's the leaf of the beech tree. And I appreciate it sounds very basic and perhaps tedious, but if you like trees like me, it's not. It's really enjoyable. These running shoes. Oh, here we go. Adizero Adios Pro 3s. They're extremely light. And I don't know if you'll be able to see in this light, but they're kind of like almost see-through. It's like I don't know what the material is. They're amazing. But anyway, they're essential because I use them to go running. And I actually ran the London Marathon for the first time this year in these for a great charity called the Samaritans. They're very nice. I mean, supposedly they're race shoes, which I guess that means you use them for things like marathons. I feel quite cool wearing them, actually. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching.